Bro, your response to this non-soundbite, and then what does this mean long-term? That was the question was, what does this mean long-term before we
get to the sound or whatever that was. He's young. He's 23. He's never been in this position before. He's always been the star, superstar. So I want to give him some grace, and I like him. So I'll give him some grace. And his dad may have done something like, I mean, he didn't, but you know what I mean? His dad is not politically correct in his answers and responses. The difference is this. His dad was a world-class Hall of Fame athlete, all right? And everything Deion said, even as a coach thus far, he's backed up, okay? Shedeur is not that. Even if Shedeur becomes a good, very good quarterback, he's not his dad. He's not in that class
and
of
his
athlete.
Dad wasn't a quarterback.
Right,
there's
There's
different rules.
yes.
Fair or not, there's just different rules for quarterback and everybody else.
So someone needs to sit Shedeur down and be like, this is not professional. And this is not going to endear him to the Browns' brain trust or to the other 31 teams. And that's the problem. And I get it, Shedeur, and this was obviously based on last week when he said, I could play better than some of these quarterbacks out there. But Shedeur, this is what he should have said. When they asked him about Dylan Gabriel, I'm happy for Dylan. I hope he makes the most of this situation. Even if obviously you want to be out there playing, would you want to play? Look, I have confidence in myself. I think I'm a good quarterback. Sure, I would love to play, but I'm not, so I'm going to support my teammate. That's it. Just leave it at that. So it's just a bad look. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's a bad look for a quarterback. As far as quickly, Nick, what it'll mean for him, I think he'll get his shot. It all depends on Gabriel. If Gabriel goes out there and plays well and gives them a spark and they maybe win some games, the defense obviously is very good, Shedeur might not see the field if Gabriel's really good. And then next year I think they bring Shedeur back as a backup, I would think. If Gabriel, which is more likely, goes out there and is okay to bad, struggles, at times, then Shedeur will get his shot. And I think most people feel like this. I feel like this is what's going to happen. At some point, Shedeur will get his shot in several games. Yep. He'll be able to start several games. And so we'll see what he can do. But the interview.
This is perfect, actually. I mean, I agree with almost everything Bruce said, but it's perfect because there is now just enough almost credibility for folks that want to be like, no matter what the kid does, you guys kill him.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? He comes out and says, what do you want him to say? Of course, he didn't say anything bad about his teammate. He just said, I'm better than, some of these other guys, and you killed him. In fact, some folks went on TV and said, shut your mouth. And now he does that. And you're going to kill him for that, too.
So there's
that's out there already.
I think we have to just address that directly. That's sports that was Rex Ryan.
So Rex Ryan eviscerated it. Rex said, get your butt in the front of the classroom, kind of implied he's not doing his studying, stop talking, all this stuff. And so I do think this, here is my no fake news hat on this. This is just an opinion. Here is my guess on what happened. Somebody in Shedeur's circle was like, hey, you know what you should do next time they ask you anything? Don't say anything in a response to that. That'll be clever. And Shedeur is so charming almost.
Okay. This is just the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Not what they're saying, the story in general, the Shedeur Sanders thing, all of this is just so stupid. This is why people pass on Shedeur Sanders. This is why nobody wants to deal with this. This is why the Cleveland Browns, who are just obviously a disaster of a franchise, are the ones dealing with this. The Minnesota Vikings aren't. The Denver Broncos aren't. obviously the Philadelphia Eagles, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore. I mean, like none of these other high level organizations, even the ones that are trying to get back to being up higher levels, like the Commanders, heck, the Cowboys, like anyone. Like this is the dumbest thing ever. We can say, oh, he's young, he's 23. You know how to behave as an adult. You know what's proper. You're taught it at a young age. You're taught it in elementary school. Okay? Like this is just the dumbest thing ever. It really is. And I am sympathetic to people who get a ton of success and a ton of fame at a young age. Like I really am. Like you are going to experience the world differently. So I do leave leave plenty of room to do bizarre, crazy, weird stuff because it's just like, man, you've never really had to live a real day in your life, relative to many other people. You never truly struggled at the level of really just even a completely average Joe out there. They've just lived wildly different lives. And I understand that. I really do. And I'm sympathetic to that. And so I'm sympathetic to some of this other weird stuff. I even defended Shedeur for the speeding ticket and all that type of stuff. But like this is the real, like when people say like, oh, he was really bizarre and bad in the interviews, and you had all the Shedeur Sanders fans try to be like, this is such a lie. This is just them colluding against Shedeur, and this, like, these are all the things why. And if you're going to do weird, bizarre stuff like this, then you have to be an elite. You have to be just an inevitable quarterback. You have to be a monster from the jump. But you are not. You are the third string quarterback. Whether you agree with the decision or not, you have to play the game. That is how this works. That is how it works. And what this reminds me of more than anything is when I was a therapist at a men's inpatient rehab facility. And you're talking about people's lives who are ruined. Their lives are destroyed in the most intense way you could ever imagine. I've always said that, like, I can't ever really give examples because the examples are so extreme that I just don't even want to put it on a video. Just the most horrific things you could ever imagine, these people either did or they had them done to themselves. People who spent 20 plus years locked up. And some people who were just regular old people who just, had a bad run at life. And at the rehab, we'd have all these rules. You had to wake up at this time. You couldn't drink coffee. The only coffee that you'd have was caffeine free. You had resume. You had specific breaks. There was you could only eat at specific times. There was fruit that you could have, but like you couldn't have anything else except for fruit and water, except for when it was breakfast, lunch, and dinner, etc., etc. It was very specific. And occasionally you'd have people that get really upset. Why can't we have coffee with caffeine? Well, I want coffee. It's 12 o'clock. I want coffee now. It's like, you can't have that. You can have caffeine-free coffee, in the morning, and that's it, etc., etc. And there's real reasons why. There's medical reasons why that is for people who are going through withdrawal, anxiety, depression, all this type of stuff. And, you can't eat whenever you want. Like, there's specific rules. And they would freak out. One time, they stole a cookie, from the kitchen. And we were like, why did you do this? And it became a whole big thing in the community is what it was referred to as, the community. And they would push back and they would say, it's just a cookie. What does it matter? We were hungry. We wanted cookies. So we went in the kitchen and got cookies. And it was like, you can't even follow one of the most basic elementary rules during a time when your life is completely out of control. You are failing right now. Your life is in shambles. You have no relationship with your children. You have no relationship with your parents. You have no relationship with your partner. You got nothing going for you. You are broke. You are addicted. You got nothing going right now for you. And you are now at the one place that is trying to help you get your life in order. And you can't even just not eat a cookie when we say don't eat the cookie. It's not about the cookie itself. You're right. A cookie is not the same as any of the other really bad stuff that you can do out there. But if you can't even just not eat a cookie when we say don't eat the cookie, how do you think you're going to do once you're out on the streets? How do you think you're going to manage that? How do you think you're going to be able to say no to any of the other stuff that you have to deal with, that you have to face in your life? How are you going to take responsibility when you can't even take responsibility for just being like, you know what? I'm not allowed to eat a cookie, and so I'm not. When the repercussions aren't even that serious. And that's what something like this just reminds me of. It's like you can't even just do the basic elementary stuff. And anyone who says this stuff doesn't matter, yes, it does. Just like it matters of not eating, like my one supervisor said. And he cursed when he said it, but he was just like, "You're right, it is just a cookie, but it's not your bleeping cookie. It's not yours to take." That's the point of it. That's the principle of it. So being able to handle these types of things matter. They matter. It's not just about how accurate can you throw the ball. And you can overcome some of these other issues like eating the cookie. Yeah. If you are inevitable. If a celebrity goes to that rehab, yeah, it's a lot easier for them to kind of eat that cookie because it's like, yeah, I'm rich, I'm famous, I'm ridiculously good looking, I got an amazing voice, I can sing songs, rap, whatever. I'm good. I'm a model, actor. I got $100 million in the bank account. Like, yeah, we can kind of stretch the rules a little bit more for me. That's not Shedeur Sanders right now. And you know what? Even though maybe like a Josh Allen, a Patrick Mahomes, a Jalen Hurts, any of these other top quarterbacks right now that they can maybe get away with it until their talent starts to slip. Then it's like, we don't feel like dealing with this. We don't feel like dealing with this. And then they don't. We've seen that again and again and again over the years. You are trying to earn the role. It is so easy to say these things right now. A 14-year-old could say, you know what, I really want to play. I truly believe that I am one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now, and I'm just excited to get the opportunity. I'm excited for Dylan. You know, man, we spent a lot of time. He's a great guy. I wish him nothing but the success. Obviously, it's painful to sit here, watch him have the opportunity that I just want more than anything, that I've dedicated my life to. But better believe I'm going to be on the sideline cheering for him, rooting for him. I'm excited. Even though in the back of your mind you're thinking, boy, I hope this guy throws 5 straight interceptions. Anyone who's ever been benched, anyone who's ever had to just sit on the bench waiting for his opportunity, you're kind of hoping, there's a big part of it that's kind of like, I hope my team loses. I hope the guy in front of me doesn't look so good. Every athlete's had that feeling. I'm sure even Patrick Mahomes has had that feeling. Josh Allen, Tom Brady, it just is what it is. But the fact that you can't even navigate this type of adversity, it's the cookie comparison, man. It's like it's not about the cookie. It's the fact that you can't even just not eat the cookie. It's just a cookie. What do you think you're going to do with all the other stuff out there? If you can't not eat a cookie, you're going to be a great father. You're going to be, you're not going to relapse. You're going to pay your bills on time, pay your rent, get a job. When you are at your lowest point, when you're trying to go all in on bettering your life, you can't even do basic elementary rules that like third graders follow in elementary school. And that's something that you wrestle with and work with when you're working with the patients. It's like, do you understand what we're saying here? Do you understand? You can't keep just living in a me world. It's what we used to refer to it as, like king baby. It's just like, it's me. It's like, it's not how you're going to succeed in life. Not how you're going to succeed. And so that's what comes to my mind more than anything. Because you are going to have so many people be like, oh, this is ridiculous. Or they're always making a big deal out of everything. I don't know. I just find this thing so incredibly dumb. And at first I was skipping some of this because I'm like, who cares? Then you see this and I'm like, all right, you know what? There's a more interesting take here. There's a more interesting conversation here rather than, some of the other stuff that I'm hearing. But I mean, I don't know. It just, he rejected the Ravens offer. He rejected the Eagles. He could be starting right now. He could have a legitimate opportunity with the Baltimore Ravens. It's his decisions, man. His actions. That's what's happening here. Baltimore Ravens said, hey, we are interested. And he's like, nah. And you would have a potentially golden opportunity. And now you're with the Cleveland Browns. Don't know what to tell you. You rejected the Philadelphia Eagles too, where their starting quarterback has missed multiple games in multiple seasons. And you were like, nah, I don't want no opportunity to work with the team that literally just won the Super Bowl. That turned a second-round draft pick into a Super Bowl MVP. Like, I don't want nothing to do with that. Like, okay, sure, fine. I mean, if you don't want those things, man, good luck in Cleveland. Good luck. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Shedeur Sanders fake speaking to reporters, and just the dumbest story in sports right now? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.